Are you all ready for the Aussie Open, mate? I am super pumped up. First of all, I just got to say, Thursday, I'm going to be leaving, getting on a plane, going to Australia. So I'm super excited. If you're watching this video for the first time, my name's Pete from Crunch Time Coaching. We do tennis instruction. And I thought I'd come on and just do a live kind of hangout with you all and see who do you think is going to win the 2020 Aussie Open. It's going to be very interesting. I think this is one of the, thank you for the early thumbs up. If you come on in and give a thumbs up, that would certainly make my day. So I think this is going to be one of the more interesting Australian Opens that we've had in a long time because the next generation finally seems that they are waking up. And so I want to know what you guys think about this. If you look at the Australian Open, I believe I'm right on this. From 2010 until now, only Roger, Stan Wawrinka, and Novak Djokovic have won on the men's side. When you think about that, that's pretty amazing. And if you really look at, well, who is it most favor? Well, it's heavily in Roger and Novak's favor. They've won most of them. And so you'd have to pick those two guys again as far as being the heavy favorite, and you'd have to really go with Novak. He's been much more dominant, and usually when it comes up to a big matchup, he just had a big matchup with Rafa Nadal a couple weeks ago at the ATP Cup, and he again showed that on the hard court, when he is at the top of his game, when he is not injured, can Kyrgios beat Rafa in the fourth round? We're going to talk about that. But I just want to keep going on Novak for a little bit. When Novak's at the top of his game, he doesn't appear to be injured. There's no nagging injuries. Nothing's bothering him mentally. And he just is playing his game, especially if it's on the hard court. He seems to be the best. Now, with that said, we just talked about Novak playing the ATP Cup. And if you watch the ATP Cup, I absolutely love the ATP Cup this year. What did you guys think of the ATP Cup? I thought it was a great event. I hope it's an event that can be successful year after year. But when you think about what they did leading up for preparation to the Australian Open, it's kind of crazy. It almost doesn't make much sense. You're getting ready to play the hottest tournament of the year. Like, I'm talking, besides it being like hot and as far as it's trendy and everybody wants to watch it because it's the first tournament, it's so freaking hot in Australia, right? Like, it's not uncommon for them to say it's 120, it's 130 on the court. And for this ATP Cup, they're playing in Australia, and Australia is a huge country, so they're playing in 3 different locations, not just hot, but the smoke. Right now, they're having all the fires. So they're dealing with the fires, or they're not dealing with the fires the way the poor Australian people are, but there has been issues where they can feel the smoke in the air. It's certainly on everybody's mind, but I just really even just want to focus on the ATP Cup right now. Let me just stay focused on the ATP Cup. It's easy for you guys to get me off my focus. But the ATP Cup was a 10-day event across the whole country in 3 different locations. So there's travel involved. They're playing in such hot weather, and it's very emotional because when you're playing for your team, you can see when they care about it, they really get pumped up. They're on the sideline, they're watching, they're getting pumped up. When they're playing, they're super pumped up. They want to win for their team, for their country. And it's also different from a tournament where, let's just say, Rafa Nadal, who is too exhausted to play the doubles in the finals. He said he was too tired to play. And that's because besides just the exhausting tennis part of it, which was ultra competitive, when he finishes his matches, then he's got to go cheer on his teammates. He just can't say, all right, I'm going to do my press, and then I'm going to go shower, and I'm going to go in an ice bath, and I'm just going to decompress the rest of the day and prepare for tomorrow. The ATP Cup, they had to keep playing. So will this affect players like Novak Djokovic, who we know he has trouble, and we've already talked about the air quality. We know he has trouble breathing. That's like his Achilles heel. That's his kryptonite. And that was one of the big things keeping him back from being number 1 in the world is people used to question his health and fitness because he would have trouble breathing. Will he become exhausted through doing the ATP Cup? They did the rally for the fires, for the fires in Australia, which was great. They raised $4 million. How awesome is our sport? But again, that's got to be taking a mental and physical toll. All this stuff, it seems like they're doing a lot of stuff to get ready for the Australian Open. And I'm just wondering if it's going to affect players like Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, who played very physical tennis, who might get tired in the first week and might lose to somebody that they would never lose to. Or maybe they just become a little bit more vulnerable for someone well-rested like a Roger Federer to beat them when they normally would beat Roger if they weren't as tired. So this is what I'm wondering going into the Australian Open. Was the ATP Cup, we know it was good for tennis. We know for those 10 days it was great for the players. Will it be great preparation for winning the Australian Open? It could be. Like, let's talk about Rafael Nadal. Rafael Nadal, if he doesn't get injured and he feels good, the more balls he hits, the better he plays. So the ATP Cup could be a big advantage to where by the time he goes into Australia, he feels like he's peaking. He's hitting a ton of balls. He feels great, and he's got that they do have time to rest, but it all starts now. It all starts here and now, and so it's going to be very, very interesting. Will the rest help or backfire on Roger Federer? You know, you'd think this is pretty smart for Roger. He's 38. He decides, you know, I'm looking at the ATP Cup. He originally signed up for it, and I think he's thinking about going, no, I don't want any part of that. I don't want to get involved in all the drama, all the emotion, completely wear myself out at my age. I'm going to rest. I'm going to let them fight it out for a couple of weeks. And then they're coming in exhausted because they just all beat up on each other. And then I'm just going to walk through and I'm going to find my groove and I'm going to be feeling great the entire tournament. That could prove to be a very, very smart move by Roger. It could also backfire. I know I was watching that. I think he played a set against Kyrgios, and he told Kyrgios before the match, he's like, hey, take it easy on me, Nick. This is the first match I'm playing, right? So that's not great match toughness preparation, but does he really need that at this point? But I think all the players do thrive on their, getting there. There's something to be said for getting not just ball hitting timing, but your timing and your flow and your rhythm of matches. And so that's where, the term match toughness, they're match tough, they're match ready, comes into play. As long as he's not it. Roger was smart. He has to be, says John. All right, keep the comments coming. I'm starting to read them more. I'll read more of these comments as I see them coming. So Rafa has not won the Australian Open in a long time. We know Novak and Roger has. Does Rafa have a chance at this point? Seems like at this tournament, for whatever reason, lately, he's been getting injured, where he doesn't seem to get injured at the U.S. Open. You'd think it would be the opposite. This is the first tournament where he should be fresh, and he seems to get injured and not 100% at the Australian Open. But then at the U.S. Open lately, he's been playing great and winning some U.S. Opens in the last couple of years. So will he be okay physically? Is he a contender to go all the way? He got to the finals last year, but Novak just completely put the beat down on him. So be interesting to see how Rafa does. But this is really the first year that I am seriously, if you've watched some of my commentary before, ATP Cup took a lot out of Rafa. It sure did. It sure did. I agree with you. First match since November for Roger, I think is what John is saying. Jason saying, can never count out Rafa. You can never count out Rafa. Rafa, you are an animal. That's right. You cannot count out Rafa. That's why I love our sport so much. I mean, we have true warriors, but they are warriors with class, right? They are warriors with class. Let's talk about the next generation, though, because this is the first tournament where I'm really thinking, one of these guys could do it. One of these guys can finally step up and do it, because they've been a huge disappointment, but now they're starting to get results, and not just like the small 250 tournaments. They're starting to step up. You saw Tsitsipas, he won the year-end tournament. That was pretty awesome. And he played against Dominic Thiem, and they had a classic. Like, it was a classic. Like, if you're handing off the sport to these guys, we're in good shape, right? Even though Dominic Thiem seems to be a little bit of a late bloomer in that, now maybe he's ready to win one of these Grand Slam tournaments. Tsitsipas is kind of like, he just seems like he's peaking just at the right age to come on in and really take over the sport. Tsitsipas is looking great, says John. Yeah, so Tsitsipas, and he talks with confidence. Right? Now, could this be overconfidence where he's already talking before he wins his first major? He's already talking that he can win as many as Rafa, Roger, Novak. The history of the sport, this is all he's known since he's grown up. But we know from watching tennis for so long, this is totally abnormal. Ivan Lendl, who won, I think, was it 7 or 8 Grand Slams? He's one of the best players ever. John McEnroe is considered one of the best players ever. He won 7. A lot of the best ever have won, 3 to 5 to 7 Grand Slams. Winning 20, 19, 16, that is not normal. So for Tsitsipas to put that kind of pressure on himself before he wins his first, that could backfire on him, or raising that bar so high, it may actually be a good thing for him and some of these other next geners. What do you guys think about this? What are Tsitsipas's chances? What are Dominic Thiem? He looked great at the year end, but now he seems like he's having a tough time on the hard court again. Is he going the wrong way? You have Medvedev, who looked really, really good in the U.S. Open final, and I thought for a second, whoa, this Medvedev, he's going to be the one. He's going to win this U.S. Open. Didn't you guys start to feel that Medvedev might have won that match against Rafa? The court is too fast for Thiem. Okay. How about Tsitsipas being Djokovic? I mean, that's the thing that's exciting. Now we have some guys where we're like, if they play at the best of their game, and even if Novak is at the best of his game, they could still win, right? I mean, they could still do it. They're getting that talented. They're getting that match tough to where a Medvedev, I watched him play Djokovic, I think it was in Cincinnati, and Djokovic didn't play bad, but it looked like he just could not handle that consistency, and Medvedev was really going for his first and second serve. We're talking more about Thiem. A lot of people don't think, or at least John doesn't think, that Dominic Thiem has a chance to win on the hard court. So we do think Tsitsipas has a chance. Do you guys think Medvedev could do it? I certainly think Medvedev could do it. Who else could be a next gener who could do it? Does Denis Shapovalov have what it takes? It seems like he's playing better lately. I don't see him going all the way. Who would be another one who might do it? Felix Auger-Aliassime, he doesn't seem like he's ready. In fact, a sitter. Okay, yes, he looks really, really good. I think when he comes into his own, maybe in a couple of years, he could blow by them all. Medvedev has the game that confuses many players, and he's very mentally tough, and he's not going to beat himself. Felix is good, but not ready. Exactly. Felix is good, not ready. Who are we not talking about that we should be talking about? Who else can win this thing is what I want to know. Nick Kyrgios. We had a question if Nick Kyrgios could beat Rafa. Maybe Nick Kyrgios can beat Rafa if he makes it to the 4th round. Zverev, right? Zverev. We haven't talked about Zverev. And Zverev is kind of one of those guys who earns his way into the conversation, and then he earns his way out of the conversation. Can he come back in the conversation? Again, towards the end of last year, he had a terrible year for him. He was very depressed. He said his confidence is below 0, I think is what he said at one point. And then he worked his way out of this rut in the Asian swing. But then it seems like his game has gone back down again. He had a rough ATP Cup. He was serving double faults like crazy. So really, it goes to show the confidence in his serve and his second serve is so key. I talk about big rocks. That's one of the big rocks that he has to feel good about to really have a good chance at the Australian Open. Now, if his second serve comes back, he certainly has the skills and the game to beat anybody. He beat Roger over there on the Asian swing. Any Americans can do any damage? No. No, I wish so, but let's not even talk. I can't think of one American, maybe besides Isner, who could pull off some big wins. Okay, so no Americans I can think of. So let's get back to Kyrgios, because Kyrgios is very interesting. And Kyrgios is kind of, in a very short amount of time, changing his image in a good way. We know that he is must-watch TV, and people either love him or hate him or love to hate him. But you can't deny that he is somebody interesting to watch. You cannot deny the talent. And so, Nick is one of those guys who, when he's played some of his best tennis, he's playing for teams. He played great for Team Australia, and Leighton Hewitt, who's been one of his toughest critics, absolutely loved Nick being on his team this year. And Nick felt like he was playing for a cause. He was playing for his team in Australia with the first ATP Cup, and these fires are going on that are really affecting him mentally. And so he decided that he would say, "Hey, every ace I hit, I'm giving money." And then everybody started to back him up. And then they did this rally for the fires, and they raised $4 million. And Nick was, a big centerpiece of that whole thing. So, Nick, when he doesn't do well, it's because he kind of checks out mentally because he doesn't give himself enough respect. But now maybe he feels like this is more about me. I just can't go out there, and if I don't feel like playing against this one guy this day, that I'm just going to tank. Like, I can't. Hopefully he's giving this talk to himself like, I can't do that crap anymore. This is bigger than me. I'm playing for my country. I'm in Australia. I'm playing for these fires, and it's time for me to grow up. Maybe this is super hopeful thinking, but maybe this happens this year at the Australian Open, and maybe he'll have a great Australian Open, and it will be the thing that kind of kickstarts him into taking everything more serious about tennis, taking his game more serious, taking his fitness more serious, taking his practice, taking his diet more serious. I know this is a huge ask, but if Nick did this, he could definitely win a Grand Slam title, if not at the Australian Open someday. But I think at least he'll have enough energy, enough motivation to do some big things. Remember the umpire who got in trouble for telling Nick to start trying? Yeah, I know, it's crazy. But we all want him. Why do we all do that? Because we all see the talent and we don't want it wasted. So will this be the tournament that Nick steps up and says, I may not win this tournament, but I'm not going to lose it. I'm not going to self-destruct. Like, if Nick just did that for us, I would be happy. I think it is a lot to ask. Based on that, he hasn't really been a serious contender in a major to think that he can win 2 weeks. But I'm at least hoping and kind of expecting that this might be a major to where we go, at least that dude gave it 100% and he didn't make a buffoon of himself. I think that could be expected. What do you guys think about that? Is there anybody else who we need to talk about? Stan Wawrinka has won on an Australian Open. He's only the third person to do it in the last decade. Can he do it? Is he a serious contender? Is he kind of off our radar? Didn't he get to the semifinals of the U.S. Open and beat Novak Djokovic? Yeah, he's super talented. Rublev, yes, Rublev. Could he do it? He's super talented. The vampire, right? He looks like a vampire to me. He could do it. I was watching him play the other day. He had a great match against, I think he was playing Denis Shapovalov. And he is extremely talented. He could certainly come from out of nowhere and do it. And but I really don't think that he's going to be the one to do it. Wawrinka says, no, don't think he will go far in this tournament. Why not, John? Why is he not going to go far? Why is he not going to at least do some damage? He did go. He had a good run. He had a good run at U.S. Open. And towards the end of the year, he had a press conference where he reminded the press, hey, I didn't do bad this year. I had a good year. So get off my back, and I'm not done. I'm not finished, and I'm on the right track. Kevin Anderson to go to the quarterfinal. Well, Kevin Anderson, we haven't mentioned Kevin. Isn't that crazy how Kevin Anderson was like there in the hunt for Wimbledon's, for U.S. Opens, and I haven't seen him do anything lately, so I don't know. Cilic is another guy who could all of a sudden come from out of nowhere and find himself in the semifinals and finals when you just don't think about him anymore. But Cilic is another sleeper that could do it. So I think we've kind of talked about them all. If I had to pick one, like let's say I had to pick one legend and then I had to pick one next gener, so I get 2 picks. Will you guys give me that? Can I get 2 picks? I'll give you guys 2 picks. My 2 picks, a legend, I'm going to pick Stan, more of a dark horse. I'm going to pick as my legend, I'm going to pick Novak Djokovic. I'm going to say the little bit of rest he got after the ATP Cup and plus the emotion of winning the ATP Cup, I'm going to say that he's going to feel good enough to go through and win. But watch the air quality, because if anybody could get the most bothered by it, it could be him. But I'm going to say that will not be an issue. But don't be surprised if it is. So that's my legend pick, Novak Djokovic. My next gen pick is really, really tough because I think what would be the best for the game is this personality of Tsitsipas. I would love to see Tsitsipas win because he is just such a star. Like he's got his own YouTube channel and it's pretty impressive, and he's very entertaining. So Tsitsipas, I'm leaning towards. But here's one thing: if I see Tsitsipas playing Medvedev tomorrow, first round, who am I going to pick? I'm going to pick Medvedev. So, and he was very close, very, very close at the U.S. Open. So he knows what it feels like. He was sniffing the trophy. He knows what it feels like to hold a second place trophy. That's important. That's important. Lots of champions usually hold the second place trophy first before they get the first place trophy. So I'm going to pick Medvedev. He's not my favorite player. He's not really my cup of tea. I think he got a bad rap at the U.S. Open. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He's just not exciting to watch for me. But I think he deserves to win a major. I think he's, especially with the style of play today, that is like this aggressive baseliner that's also like a backboard. It's kind of weird. We used to think of, back in the day, you're either a baseliner who's a pusher, you're an all-court player who hits and goes for their shots, you're a serve and volleyer. Medvedev is a baseliner who's a backboard, but he also hits the ball hard. But I don't know. But he doesn't hit as hard as Tsitsipas. I mean, Tsitsipas kind of almost called him boring and a pusher. But he is not a pusher, guys. He is not a pusher. He can light you up. So those are my picks. I'm going to pick Novak Djokovic for the Legends, Medvedev for our next-gen champ, and then if you gave me a third pick, if you were super nice to me, I'd pick Tsitsipas as my next one. And if you gave me a second pick on a legend, I would pick Roger. But I'm asking for 4 picks now. That's not really that cool. But that's what I would pick if you let me. And it is my YouTube channel, so I'm letting me. Like this video, guys. Leave your comments below. Be ready, too. I'm going to Australia. Did I mention that in this video? Yeah, on Thursday, I'm going to be in a plane for a couple days. I'm going to Australia. I'm going to be in Australia from the quarterfinals on. I'll be trying to send as many videos reporting to you guys. And then during that week, we're going to be doing a 7-day serve challenge. So make sure you go to crunchtimecoaching.com right now and sign up for your 7-day serve challenge, to where on day 1, I'm going to teach you guys the perfect serve practice template. So every time you go to the court, no matter what level it is, you have a perfect system for practicing your serve. We're also going to fix your serve toss in 10 minutes. I'm going to fix the #1 bad serve habit that 90% of players have, which is this pizza move. We're going to get rid of the pizza. No more pizza in 2020. And then we're also going to be fixing your slice serve, your kick serve, and I'm going to teach you how to hit over 100 miles an hour if you want to. So make sure you watch my videos. Sign up for the 7-day serve challenge. It's going to start January 27th, and that's it. I'll see you in Australia. Bye-bye.